Hello there guys, it's Ebird Online and I'm here with another review from 90 Day Fiance. And this is Season 7, Episode 7, The Truth Shall Set You Free. And today I'm going to be talking about Anna and Mursel and Robert and Anny. Please don't forget to click on the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. And thank you so much to everybody that's already subscribed. I really appreciate your support. And don't forget to like the video. And you can follow me on Twitter at mbird99. So first up, I'm going to be talking about Anna and Mursel. And when we catch up with Anna, she's on her way to her bachelorette party. Bachelorette party? I thought you were unsure as to if the wedding was happening or not. Doesn't seem so. And we find out that Anna has just 21 days to go till the wedding. And Anna tells us there have been concerns thus far with the language barrier between her and Mursel. Anna, that really is the least of your worries. Mursel's parents still don't know about your kids. And we see the boys talking to Anna last week and they're saying to her, we think that you guys will just split up. And Mum, can't you at least get somebody that we like? But Anna seems to have brushed all that off to go to her bachelorette party. On the way, Anna tells us that she's already sent out wedding invites to all her friends and family, so she's under a lot of pressure to go through with the wedding. Anna, you're not under any pressure at all. You want this wedding and you want it so much you're prepared to ignore all of the things which are negatives. The fact that you don't speak the same language, the fact that Marsul hasn't told his family about your boys as yet, and the fact that none of your friends like Marsul. The fact that Marsul is the village idiot. She's ignoring all of that and saying, because I've printed out a few tatty invites on my computer and posted them out, I simply can't cancel this wedding. Anna, yes you can. What you mean is you don't want to. So Anna turns up to the bachelorette party and all her friends are there, and she says she hasn't told her friends about all the struggles as yet. And as soon as she gets in, they get down to some serious drinking and they take shot after shot after shot. Well Anna, if you've kept quiet about all the problems thus far, taking shots isn't going to help you. And one of her friends asks her, does Marcel mind you drinking? And Anna says, well, he doesn't like it at all, but he says that I can drink once a week, but he won't kiss or have sex with me after I've been drinking. And this just proves to me what an idiot Marcel is, because the world over, men know women are better at sex if they've had a few drinks. Why do you think men buy bottles of overpriced champagne in nightclubs? Even an 18-year-old knows this. And then Anna tells us, even if he does have sex with me, he doesn't go downtown. Anna, this is yet another negative to add to the very long list. And her friends are shocked by this news. He doesn't go downtown. Oh my God. And Anna said, well, I don't like it anyway. And this just proves to me there's no end to the crap that Anna will tell herself. In a desperate bid to make her relationship with Mursel seem palatable. Anna, it will only ever seem palatable if you take Mursel and plonk him back in Turkey. And when Anna's busy telling her friends about the problems that she's having with Mursel, they say, why are you hurrying? What's the hurry for your marriage? And Anna can't really answer. But she says, well, we're not really rushing. But what choice do we have? If he goes back to Turkey, we'll have to wait another 18 months for a visa. Anna, that will give him 18 months to tell his parents about your boys. And her friends say, Anna, yes, you are rushing. It doesn't seem as if everything's right. And then they ask her, how do the boys like Turkey? And Anna confides that she's never taken them there. And then she tells them that Marcel's parents still don't know that Anna has kids. And if her friends were against this union before, they're really upset at this. And one of her best friends says, oh, no way. Whoa, forget that. What do you think the repercussions of this decision will be on your boys? And it's as if Anna has never considered it before. She doesn't even know how to answer. And we know the repercussions. It will make your boys feel sidelined, second best, and invisible. Anna, it's absolutely unforgivable. But guys, I think her friends are really nice, and they're all saying, we're not trying to weigh in on you. We're not here to judge you. We just want to help you in any way that you can. This does not feel right, and you must tell Mursel's parents before you get married. And Anna finally says to producers, this is not a secret I can keep anymore. Anna, it shouldn't have been a secret you could have ever kept. And when we next catch up with Anna, she's talking to producers again, and it seems like her friends have finally talked sense into her, because she's sitting at the computer and Marcel comes over and says, are you happy? And she says, no, my friends say that I shouldn't marry you. And guys, they're still talking through the bloody app. And Anna says, I shouldn't do this to my boys. And I'm done with this lie, Marcel. And Marcel then says, but my parents will be really mad. And Anna says, well, I don't care. There'll be no wedding if you don't tell them. I'm definitely thinking about cancelling the wedding if this secret's still kept. And Mursel says, I want married, I want wedding. And Anna says, no way. And then Mursel proves that he's an international man after all. And he also proves to the Ebird, as she suspected a long time ago, gaslighting comes naturally to men. Because he said, oh, so now your friends are talking, are they? And he tells the producers she went out with her friends and suddenly everything's completely changed. No, Mursel, Anna's been saying this to you all along. Every single episode thus far, Anna has said, have you told your parents yet? And my boys and I want you to tell your parents, and you've continually said no. So don't make out that it's just suddenly her friends. Although I will say one thing, Anna, you're a fool to yourself and you're a fool to Mursel if you can't say, I want the wedding to be off. I can't keep this lie. You don't need to say what your friends have said. It's about what you think and what you're prepared to accept. And Anna tells Mursel, you knew I had children when you got together with me and it's selfish to make me hide them. Mursel said, not selfish. And Anna said, yes, it's selfish, not selfish. And at least we can see one thing, his language seems to be developing a little bit, even if he's only using this language to lie and to gaslight. And Mursel said, if I tell my parents, they won't speak to me again. So guys, what I think Mursel has to consider is, what does he want from life and what does he think is reasonable? If he thinks his parents are reasonable in not speaking to him because Anna already has kids, then he has to make the choice that he's going to leave Anna and the kids and go back to Turkey. If he feels they're unreasonable, then just tell them. For all he knows, they may well change their mind, or they may not speak to him for a while, but then they may decide afterwards that they're actually going to speak to him after all. And he's also got to think, who's going to be most affected? Your parents are adult. They might be shamed within their village that their son has married someone with kids, but these children are going to be mentally affected for the rest of their lives with this situation. And Marsul says, it's a really difficult decision. And Anna says, I know. And so she says, well, Marsul, are you going to tell your family about the boys? No. Well, Marsul, that didn't seem too difficult. You didn't even pause. You didn't even have a moment of thoughtfulness. You didn't even bother to furrow your brow or stroke your chin. You just straight out said no. So it doesn't seem as if it's a difficult decision at all. And then Anna is giving it the poor me to producers. And she said, I knew Marcel would leave me in the end. I knew he'd never choose me over his family. I thought he'd change his mind once he got over here, but there's a possibility that everything could be over. And it's my thought at this moment that Anna, you're coming across as really desperate. There are 4 billion men on the planet. You're acting as if Marcel is the only person that's ever going to understand you or love you. And what is it you've got in common again? Oh yeah, that's it. Bees. Come on now. Your relationship isn't even based on a shared political ethos or shared values. He was happy for you to leave your kids and move to Turkey with him. That, if anything, should have been your deal breaker. And then Anna says, we're at the end of the 90 days and we're about to call it off. And then she goes and sits on her bed and Marcel comes in and hugs her and says, I still want marriage. I want. And Anna says, no marriage. And he says, I still want. And she says, I'm not hiding my boys for your family. And finally, it seems as if Anna is putting her foot down. So guys, unless you've been hiding under a rock, you'll already know that Anna and Marcel did get married. But let me know what you think. Did she force him to tell his parents before the wedding? Or did she just figure someone will see it on TV anyway, so I guess they'll get to know? I would like to think that she forced Marcel because it would be nice for her boys to know that their mum, to some extent, put their feelings first. But I'm not so sure. Anna seems very desperate and very weak. Let me know what you think in comments down below. And last and certainly not least, Robert and Anny. So Robert and Anny are apartment hunting. So Robert tells us we need a 2-bedroom apartment. We're all in one room at the moment and there's 3 in a bed because my son Bryson is sleeping in between us. And Anny doubles down on this. She says, I have had no sex for over a week. And she tells us she can't sleep naked because of his son. And it would seem for once that the couple are in agreement that they need to upgrade to a larger apartment. So they meet up with a real estate agent who shows them into a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. And guys, this apartment was really nice. It was a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment with a balcony and a beautiful view over the lake. And Anny absolutely loved the apartment and Robert seemed quite partial to it as well. The agent showed them into the master suite, which was very spacious and the whole place was newly renovated. But I started to wonder to myself, how can a taxi driver afford all of this? The answer is he can't. So Robert tentatively asks the estate agent, how much is a place like this going for? So Robert, let me get this straight. You've gone to see an apartment without knowing how much it is first. If I'm apartment hunting, that's my number one question. Is it within my budget? And I gotta tell you, Robert looked very worried as he was asking that question. And the real estate agent said, yes, it's $17.50 a month. And just for a second, Robert looked crestfallen. And then he started to explain, oh, I've just re-signed a new lease last month on my apartment, and it's for a whole year. And Annie, who was standing there, didn't understand. So the agent explained it all to her in Spanish. And she said, yes, when you sign a new lease, it means you can't break it for a year. So you won't be able to move apartments for a whole year. So Robert, you've got Annie's hopes up and you've wasted the estate agent's time. Unreal. I would say you've wasted your own time, but I doubt there's much of a premium on that. And then Robert re-explains it to Annie in case she didn't understand. He says a lease is like a contract, and that means you have to stay within that contract for a whole year. And that's actually quite interesting coming from Robert, because as the Ebird pointed out on a previous video, he's been taken to court many times for breaking leases and non-payment of rent. Suddenly now, it's super important. And Annie said, oh Robert, when I came here, you told me we'd have a new apartment. And Robert said to the real estate agent, there is a caveat in my lease that says if I can find somebody to take over the lease, then I can move as long as they're responsible for that lease. And for a second, Annie looked a bit hopeful. But then Robert turned to Annie and said, if no one comes in for 3 months, then I'm paying for this place and I'm paying for the old apartment and everything's coming straight out of my pocket. Robert, you find somebody first before you sign elsewhere, dimwit. And then really aggressively he says to Annie, so first you want me to pay for 2 apartments and then you want a buku bougie wedding with everything that you want? Robert, you've already said that it's just going to be you and her at a courthouse in a cheap wedding. So why are you even bringing that up? And she never ever said she wanted a buku bougie wedding. They were your words. She just said she expected a wedding with guests and a dress and food. I think when most people say wedding, that's what we imagine. And he continued with his aggression, saying, how do you expect me to pay for all of that? And Robert is completely ignoring the fact that yet again, he's already said to Annie, we'll get a new apartment when you come. We can't all sleep in the same room. So whilst he was filing for her K1 visa, he was simultaneously re-signing a lease, which he knew would keep them there for another year. And again, Robert with the false promises and flat out lies. First he said, yeah, I'll get you an iPhone, but I'm not getting you the newest one. Fair enough. When she gets here, I'm not getting you an iPhone. Then he said, I'll buy you new clothes. He takes her to a second-hand store and says, technically, these are new clothes. Then he gaslights her about this wedding, saying that you want a buku bougie wedding. No, you said to her you'll have a wedding, and she's expecting to have somebody at the wedding. And it seems now you've also said to her, we'll get a new apartment, we'll have a 2-bedroom, which I'd already assumed that you had before she even came. But no, you've got a 1-bed, and your son sleeps with you in the middle. Annie, you've got no more chance of making Robert to live up to his many promises than you have circumnavigating the moon. And then Robert starts shouting, you want everything, you want everything. Robert, she just wants what you said you would give her. You promised her everything and you're giving her nothing. You haven't come through on even one of the promises. And he becomes aggressive really quickly and tries to flip the switch onto Annie really quickly. And I think that's because he's a beta male. He wants to be an alpha, but he's not. He feels woefully inadequate because he can't actually afford anything. Why would he even look at an apartment if he knows he can't move for a year? And every single time I do a video on these guys, people get into my comments and they say, she's a gold digger. You're supporting a gold digger. So I want very quickly to talk about what I believe to be the nature of this relationship. Let's not forget they'd only met each other for 8 hours prior to Anna coming to the United States. So they can't pretend we were in love. We just had an unbelievable connection. Robert went looking specifically in the DR because he knew he wanted a standard of girl that he couldn't get or pay for in the US. He wanted someone that he'd be able to have complete control over, somebody that he'd be able to threaten and say, you'll go back home if they don't do exactly as he says. He wants someone to look after his son Bryson, someone that he can have sex with whenever he wants. That's what Micheal wanted. What did Annie want? Annie wanted to get out of poverty. So she wanted to leave the DR, in the hopes of getting more opportunity and a better life in the good old US of A, the same as everybody on the 90 Day Fiance, give or take a couple of people. And so they have a contract of sorts in order to get Anny to agree to going over to him. Just saying, come to America, obviously wasn't enough. He had to say, I'll get you an iPhone, I'll buy you new clothes, I'll get an apartment that's big enough for all three of us, and we'll have a wedding. So he gave her all these promises, and then the moment she sets foot on US soil, he sets about reneging on each and every one of the promises. But instead of just saying, Anny, you will get it, but all in time, I have to save a little bit of money first, he turns aggressive and turns it on her and says, I think you just want money, you just want money. No, I wanted what was in our agreement, what you promised me in order to get me over here. And the least that Robert can do, if he's not coming through with the promises he made, is to renege on those promises sensitively and without calling her names and becoming massively aggressive with her. And I honestly think Robert talks to Anny as if she's a dirty dog from the street. And I'm sick of people saying she's a gold digger. He's made false assertions, she's moved country based on those assertions, and he won't admit that he's a liar. He doesn't have the money to make good on the promises he made. Does Anny want as much as she can get? Yeah, of course she does. But as girls, we all want at least what we're promised. And in fact, as all human beings, we all want at least what was promised. Imagine if Anny got here and said, do you know what? I don't want to look after Bryson. I want to go to the beach every day and just chill out. You're going to have to find somebody else to look after your kid like you did before I came here. What would happen if Anny said, oh, I don't really want to have sex with you. You're going to have to trawl round bars and try and pick girls up the same way that you did before I came. To be a gold digger, there must be some gold to dig. And with Robert, there really isn't. There's not even stainless steel or copper. Just twigs, chicken bones and lies. And if I were Anny, I'd run for my life now, because this aggression is going to boil over at some point. I honestly think that Robert needs counselling. Today he's gotten really angry with Anny, saying, you want everything, you want everything. You've taken her to see a 2-bedroom apartment that's beautiful. When she sees it and says, yes, I'd like it, and you realise you can't afford it, you start screaming and shouting at her. To any of the people that are saying she's a gold digger, tell me if you think that is reasonable or not. I do not. Anny, if I were you, I'd leave now while the going's good. There's an old saying, if you lie with dogs, you rise with fleas. But if after getting up with Robert, you had fleas, Robert would say, don't say I don't do nothing for you. I've given you fleas. The only present that Robert has given her thus far is sexy underwear that she can wear whilst performing for him. Honestly, Robert really is a scumbag. So guys, let me know what you think. Are you team Anny or team Robert? Do you think that Robert's made false promises? Or do you think that Anny is a gold digger? Please let me know in comments, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Make Ebird a very happy Ebird. All you need to do is click that red button. Also like the video, and you can follow me on Twitter at mbird99. And that's everything for today. You've been listening to Ebird Online. Ciao for now.